I would just say that it's such an amazing program, generating new ideas, they're problem solving, they're critically analyzing things, and at a very young age. Why am I the way I am?
Hello and welcome to the Learning Project. I am Harsha and today I am in conversation with Ms.Nisha Vahi, Head of Primary Years Program at a prominent South Mumbai IB school. Nisha has over 21 years of experience in her field, and today as she shares her valuable insights with us, I am looking forward to gaining some understanding about what the IB is, what the Primary Years Program is, how is their teaching and learning methods different from those of our traditional curriculums, and most importantly, what are the learning outcomes that Primary Years Program and IB in general aim to bring about in young learners. Nisha ji, thank you for sparing time for us and talking to us, and welcome to the Learning Project.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Let me start with this question of, is IB a system, is it a framework, or is it a curriculum?
So it's a framework. So IB is a program which is started in year 1968. A few people got together and they decided to come up with a curriculum which, even if the children move from country to country, the framework remains the same, whichever curriculum the school plans to adapt to.
So it's a system and in which you can fit any curriculum
Any
that you
curriculum.
want. Right. So now moving on to the Primary Years Program. What is its speciality, what are its components, and how does it operate?
So the key elements of the Primary Years Programs are the concepts, building on ATL, which is the skills, attitudes to have the right dispositions, the learner profile, we have the attributes of the learner profile. You need to have skills and assessment. Assessment is the most important part of the elements of the PYP, as well as action. So here what they want, that what the curriculum is being taught in the classroom is immediately taken out of the classroom into the real world.
Into the real world, right. Let us go, a component wise, and I would like to begin with the theme. The themes that are there in IB. So these are who are we, where are we in time and place, how do we express ourselves, how the world works, how do we organize ourselves, and sharing the planet.
Right.
So would you like to take me through all these themes?
So basically, if you look at the theme at a glance, you can connect the subject disciplines. So you look at who we are, it's more about body, so it's more about who you are, a little bit of science. It talks about sociology. So those are the topics that you can look into. So if you look at where we are in time and place, you can look at history, as the name suggests, history and geography. How we express ourselves is your language arts.
Correct.
Because you need drama, music, different forms, paintings to express yourself. So each subject discipline is connected to the theme. But now over the years it has been evolving and changing. So it's not restricted to one subject, one discipline being to one transdisciplinary theme. Recently the IB curriculum, the framework has undergone a change. Now they have made it more broad and they have said go deeper. Look at anything and you can connect your any subject discipline. So we do have now children looking at how we express ourselves through science. So how you can use experiments to be able to connect to the real world and be able to express your interpretations and intentions. So now it's not just about the theme connected to one particular discipline.
Subject, right.
It is just exploring and being innovative and creative.
Absolutely. So what I am understanding from here is you have your subjects like, say, the language, the sciences, and mathematics, and your social studies and what have you. But the thing is, in our traditional curriculums, we studied them all in isolation. There was no context to it.
Yes.
So when you talk about these themes, and it begins so logically, because the learner first of all is at the center, right? When your journey as a learner begins, then first you need to look at yourself, and that's
True.
where who we are comes in, right?
Yeah.
So you first need to understand, what am I? What is my place in the family? What is my immediate surrounding? And then you go, expanding and looking at the world as a whole. And then when you talk about how the world works, then you are talking about the natural world,
Correct.
right? In terms of your physics, chemistry, biology, and math, and whatever. And when you talk about, how we organize ourselves as a society, then you're talking about the man-made world, which is how we are into political systems, all the systems that we have put together. So everything kind of gives a context to learning. So if I were to put it in an analogy, it would be like, in fact, a couple of years back, if somebody had asked me, for example, what science is, I would say, okay, we studied physics, chemistry, biology, and science. But we talk about its parts, but we don't talk in a conceptual way that science is the study of the natural world and its laws. And so here you are providing context.
Themes cover all aspects of our life and the world around us. Subjects then help us explore these themes. For example, when we say how the world works, we study the natural world through science. And when we say how we express ourselves, we explore language and the arts.
And now we talk about the concepts. So the concepts, as I was researching, are the form, function, causation, change, connection, perspectives, and responsibilities.
Yes.
Tell me something about that.
So concepts are very important because the whole curriculum is a conceptual understanding. So we are not teaching the children to understand the content. So I like to put it in a way, because I'm a visual learner. So it's like content is the diving board. So you need that to stand on, but when you jump, you need the concepts, because you need to dive into it to be able to understand the real world. And concept is something which is very abstract. It's not tangible. So what we try doing it, we use the content to get the children to move towards abstract. And there's a process to it. It's a very gradual process, but slowly we model it for the children, and then slowly they get the hang of it and they do it independently. Suppose if I have to take the concept of migration, we get the children to understand what is migration, right from the definition of it, characteristics of it, examples of migration, non-examples of migration. Once they understand what is the definition of migration, then we ask the children to make connections. Do you see migration in any other subject area? Where have you heard the word migration?
Yeah.
So probably a child will say, I heard it in the ICT class, migrating of data. I heard it when the birds are migrating.
Correct.
So they start thinking about it. And I believe that children have a lot of prior knowledge, because they're reading, they're watching, they're constantly doing something. So probably another child would say, but I have people who are at home who are migrants.
Correct.
So then they start making connections. So what is the difference between an ICT migration and the migrant who's working at your house? Then they start digging into it. They start understanding it. What led the person to migrate? So your concept of causation comes in, the cause of it, the impact of it, the effect of it. Now, what happens to the family who's left behind? What happens now, the positive and the negative side of it, because now the person is earning more and is able to send more money home. So how does it change the life of the person at home? So the concept of change comes in.
Right.
So then is when we start doing the transfer of it. So then we say, okay, have you been migrated to another place?
Yeah.
What would your experience been if you have migrated? Or in science and music and dance, have you seen the process of migration? Where have you seen it? So you see, then conceptually the person understands that the movement of people only is not migration. It could be of culture, it could be of languages, how it changes, because the people are bringing it to another country. And then there's a change in the whole thing. So there's a process, and that is the conceptual understanding. Content, they will forget the definition of migration. But because of the whole process that they gone through, they'll always remember what is the concept.
Because migration is being taught as a concept,
Yes.
not in isolation to one particular thing. So basically your concepts are your basic questions of what, why, when, where. What is this? What is its form? Why is it like this? Where can you find it? And all these, the basic questions. And that is how you're exploring a particular topic.
Yes.
So, so the subjects as I see are the physical, social and personal education, language, arts, science, mathematics and social studies.
Yes.
And then you have these themes and you apply these concepts in order to understand. Now, I believe these are all interwoven and brought together in the form of units of inquiry in the primary. And the primary years program is from age 3 to 11?
Yes, nursery to grade 5, or some school take it up to grade 6.
6, right, but generally till age 5. Yeah. So, give me an example of a unit of inquiry just to understand how all this comes together.
Okay, so we just did one unit of inquiry on natural disasters. So, we started off with what is natural disasters. And if you look at it, I mean, so we looked at the various forms of natural disasters, where do you see it, what are the causes and effect of it. So, obviously, the concept of causation came in. So the cause, we looked at the scientific reason. There your science came in. So what was
can you elaborate a little bit on how, what all aspects of science?
So suppose they took up earthquake. So the child was interested at looking at earthquake. So we asked the child, okay, study how the earthquake is caused. So they looked at the tectonic plate movement. So what are the reasons for the tectonic plate movements? They realized that there's some kind of a pressure allowed. Now pressure is a concept of science. Then they studied about what is pressure, what are the different kinds of pressure, and how is it leading to the tectonic plate movements.
So there is your geography, there is your concepts of physics,
science, everything has come in. Correct. So once they got to understand the cause, they looked at the effects of the disasters. And then we brought in the disaster managers. So who are the disaster managers and why are they needed? So then they looked at communities who start doing a mitigation process to ensure that they safeguard themselves from natural disaster. And this is your social studies aspect of it. So a lot of civics came in because they looked at the government, what is the government structure, where, so 1 year we did take them to the BMC, where you have the disaster managers. They interviewed them, they spoke to them, they understood that. So that's where your civics and social studies come in. And then we slowly moved to our third line of inquiry, which was about the ecological footprints, because by then the children realized that naturally there are certain natural disasters. But there are some disasters which are being caused by humans.
Human activity.
Like landslides, like erosion, deforestation is leading to erosion, flooding. So that's when we went to the third line of inquiry. So now what? So we spoke about the ecological footprints. Now that is environmental studies. So we are transcending, because it's called a transdisciplinary theme. We are transcending and moving and slow, and the children are not aware that we are moving from one discipline to the other discipline. And then we looked at the ecological footprints and what are the different ways that humans can take steps to reduce the ecological footprint. And that's where the whole learning culminated, where the children understood about the whole natural disasters.
So you are not learning whatever the subject is in isolation, you are understanding how it actually works in the real world. That's amazing. So and we are interweaving all the subjects within that one activity. So you have units of inquiry through the whole 5 years. You have units and typically
right from nursery. We have it from nursery to grade 5. So they are the ones who do 4 units, because they have to work a lot on their reading and writing, and that's again, IB has understood that. So IB said these are the formative years for reading and writing. So because of that we do 4 units, and grade 1 onwards, because they now know how to read and write, we do 6 units per year.
So typically how long does a unit last?
5 to 6 weeks.
5 to 6 weeks. So basically you're looking at 1.5 to 2 months.
This is what a unit of inquiry looks like in practice. One central idea, like natural disasters, is explored through science, geography, social studies, and environmental responsibility. Instead of learning subjects separately, children connect causes, impacts, and real world responsibility in one learning journey.
Moving on to the next component, which is actually the center of the whole IB or the PYP program I see, is the IB learner profile.
Yeah.
And when I see this, inquirer, thinker, knowledgeable, communicator, principled, open-minded, caring, risk-taker, balanced and reflective. So these are the profiles that you encourage the students to be, right? And when I see this, the first four are basically when you say inquirer, thinker, knowledgeable, communicator. So which means you are developing their cognitive skills.
Correct.
Right? You want them to inquire into things, then to think about it and to find out about it and then be able to communicate about it. Then the principled, open-minded, caring, and the others actually lead to moral, social and emotional development, right? And how do you bring about this?
So initially when we start at nursery, these are big words for the children. So we do a lot of story sessions. So we try reading stories, and what we have done it in our library is we have connected the learner profile to the character of the story. And then we have a discussion, we say, we ask. So basically they have to understand what is a communicator, how can one be a communicator, what are the different kinds of communication skills that one is required. So we start from that and gradually what happens by junior KG, senior KG, the teachers model it. So suppose they see that a child has thought something out of the box. So they say, wow, that was really being a thinker. You've really thought out of the box to be able to come to this conclusion. Right. So then it gives a language to the child. So the child is noticing these languages, right, and then they soon start using the language. Then they start saying it to their friends in their communication. That, right, oh, you are a communicator, right, you are a thinker because you got this answer. Correct. So that's when, because the teachers are constantly asking them, why do you think he's a communicator, why do you think he's a thinker, and by the time they come to grade 1, 2, it continues. By 3, 4 they start saying, I'm a thinker, I'm a principal, open-minded, I am being able to adapt to new ideas and everything. Basically, we want these, it's like a disposition. It's like an attitude that you need to have. Correct. To make you feel stronger and validate yourself to be able to move forward. So,
and when you use the word attitude, I was just coming to that next, and there are these attitudes that also, I think the attitudes help you develop these profiles, right?
Correct. Yes.
So can we just talk about a little bit about attitudes as well?
So what has happened over the years, they had 12 attitudes that were given, which now over the years what they have said is that disposition is just not restricted. They have now called it the disposition. It's not just restricted to these 12 words. See if you can get the children to come up with other words also. So we do have children saying that I'm a knowledge seeker, I am a courageous person. So they have started using this disposition to be able to explain or describe their personality.
Wonderful.
So again, it just gives them the feeling of being confident when they are dealing with world. What we like about the children as young as 3 years old, you ask them, or you ask them at grade 3, what are your strengths? The child will be able to say, I'm good at this. And you ask them that, why do you think it? And then they'll give you reasons for it. So again, it is the language where the learner profile and the attitudes or the disposition gives it to the children.
I remember when my daughter studied in your school, and all these profiles were put up everywhere. So even while the children are passing through schools to various classes or whatever, they're always reminded of what they can be. So I think to sum up, I think every aspect of teaching and learning in terms of how do we learn best? What are the best practices of imparting an education? How do you become the best version of yourself? Where do you apply what you learn? How do you apply what you learn? When do you apply it where? And most of all, how to be a true lifelong learner and a true global citizen. So all this is covered, in the vision of PYP.
Yes.
Am I right in saying that?
Yes.
Yes. Great.
These attitudes describe how children learn, being curious, cooperative, respectful, and responsible. IB focuses not just on knowledge, but on building the right mindset for learning.
So now moving on to the next one, then how are the learning outcomes tested? Like do you have examinations or how does it work?
Yeah, so the assessment is the big thing, and which is
Yeah.
the question that everybody asks. So assessment is an ongoing assessment because there's no one way of assessing the child, because the child might be good at a written test and there's some children who are good at oral. So what we do is we do not have one kind of an assessment. So first, at the beginning of the year, every teacher takes a month to understand the children of their classroom. So they try understanding what is their personality like, what are their likes and dislikes, what are their habits, what are the things that causes a barrier for learning, how can you rectify those barriers. So we notice everything and we keep recording it and making a note of it everywhere. Once we have got that, then we ensure that there are children being given ongoing assessments. So it could be a true or false question answer session. The next time it could be something with the child the strength is like the child wants to dramatize. So then yes, okay. So this is the question. Explain your understanding through either one of the multimodal way of doing it. So you could do a video, you could do a presentation, podcast, video, whatever you are comfortable with. So those are the ways we ensure the children are on, there's an ongoing assessment.
Right.
So it's not that there's no kind of assessment. There is an assessment. We are tracking what are their strengths, weaknesses. We are ensuring that the children are given support. So it's not that there's no assessment.
We always have to ensure that whether
Yeah.
the program is hitting its target.
Yes.
So now coming to the teaching part, do you often find any misalignment between the teaching and learning methods of PYP and the attitudes and approaches that sometimes parents may have, because not all parents understand the IB methods so well, and we are all from the traditional curriculums, where we are kind of always pushed to be ahead of others by just kind of mugging up information pre-hand or whatever it may be. What are the challenges that you typically face?
So I think over the years, what the parents have understood is that they do not want the traditional rote method of learning. So now they are looking at other options. So we do have parents very clear about that. So when they come for admission also, they say that we do not want that system. But why have they opted for IB is a lot of time it's observation. So they have observed their friends' children, and their observation has usually been that they are very confident, they can speak their mind, they make good connections, and that's it. But they don't know much about the curriculum.
Yeah.
So what we try explaining to the parents over the years constantly, that the curriculum is a conceptual based curriculum and it is skill based. A lot of emphasis is giving on skills because those are the things which you can carry out to the real world. Being a leadership, being able to communicate, being able to think, those are the things which you can carry forward it. So what we have to do constantly is keep talking to the parents. And the challenge we still face today is that we do lose some of the parents to the other curriculum because they feel that maybe sometimes it's just the fees or it's just that
Yes, true.
other reasons that could lead them. But constantly we have to keep explaining to them about the curriculum.
What about teacher training? Because even now I feel substantial number of your teachers would be from traditional curriculum backgrounds. So do they take a long time to align themselves to the IB thought process and IB methods?
So one thing sure about the teachers is that once they get into the the teaching method, they love it. They love the pedagogy.
Of course.
Because they just find that they're constantly learning. A lot of teachers are learners themselves.
Yeah.
So they love it.
Yeah.
But it does take time.
It is, yeah.
It takes time. I mean, I won't lie. If I have a teacher who's joining me, especially a fresher, it takes them 3 to 4 years to understand the program.
Yeah.
Because they need to be trained, they have to be in the curriculum, they themselves have to undo their learning because whatever they have learned in their training sessions, they have to undo it, be able to understand it and then take it off forward to it. But once they have got there, and if you ask them, would you like to go back to the traditional, which is the most easiest way of saying, they'll say, no, this is where we really want to be. It just makes us thinking.
In fact, I was talking to a teacher, IB teacher the other day, and she was saying, yes, even in the 4th year of, she said, I found my bearing somewhere about in the 4th year, and I would still, when I went back to the manual, I would still find that, oh, this is what they meant, or this is what it means. And so, that's true. Which says that it's a very, very evolved and fine-tuned.
So I must say something about IB. They are constantly researching and developing. So anything that comes up, they are already having a conversation about it.
True.
So, and they immediately test it, they go through that process, they ask us, they take our feedback, and then they implement it. So there's a lot that we are constantly learning. I mean, if I have to look at my journey here of 21 years in an IB school, I feel I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly evolving as a person. So it's a dynamic program.
Very dynamic.
Yes.
So on that point, what do you think of AI? How is it being integrated? And do you feel that this way of teaching is more relevant given that AI is coming up? What are your thoughts?
So that was something interesting because we had this conversation with the children. So when AI came in, IB did understand that, and IB said that if you are generating your answers from AI, give credit to it, cite your resources. So very progressive, very well thought of, and they came out with that. We do see our children constantly going, if you tell them to research, they straight go to ChatGPT and start looking at it. Again, what we are telling the children is that don't outsource your learning at this stage. This stage, you are supposed to learn. So let your metacognitive, you do the heavy lifting. So it's like you're going to the gym and you're asking somebody to do the weight training because you don't want to do it, you have asked somebody else to do it. So don't do that. At this point of time, learn how technology is being used. When you have to research, go the traditional way, because once you do that, you master it, then for verification or anything, you can go to ChatGPT. So AI is there to stay. Again, what we have started doing is we've started telling the teachers use it because it reduces your work time. So we do have teachers who are using it, making sure that they are able to create images and do PowerPoint presentation in a quicker manner. But it is going to be stay. So what we also have started doing is started teaching coding at a much younger age.
Right.
What we used to do initially at a later age, but by now grade 1 and 2 children have started learning coding. They've started building apps and those things by grade 3 and 4.
Wow.
So that it's how to use the technology correctly is what our responsibility is. So because this is going to be staying, this is the future of for them. So, but we just want them to understand that it's a tool. How you use a pencil, it's a tool.
Absolutely.
You must know how to use the technology.
Responsibly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what we are trying to do.
Beautiful. So yes, I think this is what I've been wanting to talk about, because what happens is, I remember my own journey. My son is the older one. When I put him, obviously he did not do the primary years program, and that was way IB schools had just come in.
Yes.
And he got admitted in grade 9, and I could see all. In fact, we had not even come across the term how we organize ourselves, when to understand that we are talking about basically social studies, as we say it in traditional systems or curriculums. And they kept saying that this is not about rote learning, it's more about application. But there is so much more to it. I mean, like, we didn't know that there could be any other way of learning, right? Learning is not about just remembering information and regurgitating it, and that's about it. And that's still how our traditional systems do work. Of course, there are changes coming in with the new education policy and stuff. So that's why I thought that, let me do this, because there's still many parents out there who know that it's a good curriculum, it's a good thing to put your child in a IB school and whatever, but we actually don't know what exactly does it involve. So I thought I'll deep dive into IB and try and figure out. So when you said there are three different programs, so I said let me explore each one separately. So any other thoughts on BYP?
So I would just say that it's such an amazing program. It just prepares the child for the future. We ensure that there are team building, working in collaboration. There's creative thinking skills where the children are generating new ideas. They're problem solving. They're critically analyzing things, and at a very young age. All this begins later, but we begin it very young. It's a wonderful program.
True.
Because it just don't look at the child, how confident a child is. I think you have to look at the little nuances that the child is growing with, whether they are able to problem solve. They think, they reflect, why am I the way I am? And that's big. At the age of 10, if they are able to say, why am I the way I am? I think that's a big thing. And the curriculum has made them to be a thinker like that. Be open-minded towards others. To be able to listen to different point of views. So I keep telling the parents that just don't think that it is similar to other programs. It's very different, and you have to have the patience. Because each child blooms, but you have to give it the time to let it bloom. Because some bloom early, some bloom later in life, but
each journey, individual's journey is different. And I think given the way the world is headed, these are the skills for the future. This is what each individual needs to be equipped with. And sometimes actually for most of us, learning happened actually when we started working. True learning did not happen sadly in your educational systems. So so this is wonderful. Thank you so much for taking your time once again to take time out to give us all these valuable insights. And I think we will, as we progress, if you have more questions, we could do a session again if needed.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Nisha ji.
Thank you.
The Primary Years program is an inquiry-led, student-centered approach to learning. Children explore big ideas through meaningful themes, naturally connect subjects, and learn to think, question, research, and communicate with confidence. Teachers guide this journey rather than direct it, helping children build understanding, curiosity, and responsibility. More than preparing children for the next grade, the PYP prepares them for life as thoughtful learners, problem solvers, and global citizens.